Right, hello guys, welcome to a quick video now on using Google Sketchup. If you've just seen my previous video, I've just displayed how to get the thing set up. Well, I didn't even cover that really. I've just covered introduction to the tools, what you're going to be using, and in this video I'm going to quickly cover simple ways of using them. So I've opened up a fresh Google Sketchup here. First thing I'm going to go ahead and do is remove Mr. Stanley. I'm going to make a really basic level, like, it's not even a level, it's just a fucking room, it's just so basic. That's what I'm going to go ahead and do. Now the first thing I want to do, because I've opened Google SketchUp, is heading over to Window, Styles, Edit, second tab over here, back color, and set that to bright, let's go bright pink today. That basically is going to show me where the reverse faces are, so I can ensure that I don't get those muddled up with the correct faces. So let's go ahead and start by setting out a floor plan for our kind of world here. Let's go ahead and set it out like this, and you can see that immediately the pink side is face up, so I'm going to select that, right click and reverse the faces. That means now in Unreal Engine 4 this top part here that we're going to build on will be a solid surface. This will be invisible, nothing, walk through. Once you've wrapped your head around the way that works, everything kind of fits into place. It's totally fine. So let's start building on it then. The first thing I want to do is put up 4 really rough walls around the outside edge. I'm not going to bother with measuring them to make sure they're all the same. I'm just really quickly going to slap these together. I've got one over there that's way bigger than the rest, but it's fine. I'm going to remove these lines here so that this whole thing now is one object. So when I push pull, we now move all 4 walls up to the same height at the same time. If I'd have left some of those lines on there, you'll see that I'd had to do it one by one, and then I'm left with these ugly lines. These don't affect anything. If they're flushed together, you won't tell a difference in Unreal Engine, but it's just ugly. So we're going to go ahead and remove those lines, and it actually makes things a lot easier if we can move everything at the same time. So let's extend the height of that up, and we've got ourselves a little kind of arena there. Push that wall back a bit that we can work inside. Let's start with an upper level. Let's make half the map upstairs and half the map downstairs. So I'm going to get the midpoint of this wall here, and that's how I'm going to find my halfway. And by dragging it up the blue axis, I can tell I'm on the midpoint of both the bottom line and the top line. I'm going to find the midpoint height-wise as well and drag out along there. And we'll come along here. I'm going to use this along the red axis up to that wall there. If you can't tell what I did there, I started moving along the red axis, just dragging my mouse along the red axis, but then I decided to hold shift. You see the line becomes bold. Then if I move the mouse up and down, it does nothing, but if I move it over the face here, it'll snap to this face. So that line is now touching this face. You'll be able to tell if a line's touching a face or not, because, let me just draw a line out here. You see how that line there is bold? It's because it's not touching a face, it goes halfway, it doesn't actually connect to anything. Whereas if I connect it up, you see now it becomes a thin line. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those. And that line there basically gives me a point where I can hold shift along here, snap it to this line up here, click, and I can even click again really to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these guidelines, we don't need these anymore. And I'm going to drag this up a bit. Now see, you wouldn't have actually noticed this turn to the light blue if you were doing it with the default colours, but I can now see that that wall is actually broken, and I would be able to see through that in the engine. So I can select that, right click, and reverse the face. And we just want to check downstairs, right click again, and reverse the face. So that's now a solid wall. We won't be seeing through that anytime soon. I'll zoom one out there. So we've got half upstairs, half downstairs, but we could really do with a way of getting up and down. I'm going to very roughly make a ramp here by drawing a line down there and simply selecting it and pulling it out. So there you go. I can now walk upstairs. Hopefully it's not too steep. We can set up all the scaling in the engine. Okay, so we've got that. Let's play with circles real quick. Let's say I would like to have some kind of pipes running along this back wall. I want 3 pipes running along this back wall. So I'm going to go ahead and... we don't want this face here on the top. We want it open. So we're going to go ahead, select a point, draw down, find the midpoint again and again, and then find the midpoint of those midpoints. So I use midpoints a lot. I find it's a fantastic way of measuring things. So I'm going to go ahead and put a circle in the middle here and drag that out to the midpoint here, again to the midpoint, and again to the midpoint. I can remove all of my guidelines now, like so. Remove those, don't need those lines. So we're just there to help me get those set up right. So you can see that those are actually now in the middle, all equally spaced apart, equal sizes. And by using those midpoint guidelines, I've ensured that I can get those really all to be the same. So I can go ahead one by one, drag them out so that they touch that edge there. And you know, with some pretty cool pipes. So you might use this kind of technique if you're building a sci-fi level, you're building modules for your sci-fi level, you might have pipes running around your kind of sci-fi setting. So that's one way you can get the pipes to work there, by measuring it, putting the circles in, dragging them out the length that you need, and then there you go. Okay, so cool, we got some pipes upstairs. We don't really have anything to stop people falling off, so let's go ahead and quickly create some kind of railing. I'm going to draw a guideline along the length of that, and I'm just going to really quick, I'm not going to bother measuring this bit, but we're going to drag that up to the same height as the top of that wall there. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the pipes. I'm going to go ahead and find a midpoint, like so. But this time I'm going to add in more midpoints. I don't want my pipes as thick on this one, so I'm going to go ahead and put a midpoint here, a midpoint here, and a midpoint here. And now what that's going to allow me to do is, oh, actually that was a bit wrong. Got my three places for my pipes. Instead of putting them to the midpoint of this, I'm going to put them to the midpoint of the smaller one here. So I'm going to move one out to the midpoint there. You know, it says midpoint. If you can't see these things, they are quite small. You may want to put this full screen, put it in 1080p, make sure you can clearly see what's going on here. Drag those out to the midpoints, and then again I can go ahead and remove those guidelines. You will find yourself drawing a lot more lines than you actually use when using Google SketchUp. Lines make things really simple to measure, really easy to make sure that everything's parallel, everything's working right. So you'll find that you draw a lot of lines, but you know, that's totally fine, totally cool. So doesn't mean anything, just go ahead and erase the ones that you don't need. You could even leave all the guidelines in, it wouldn't make anything, it would just make texturing quite a bit more difficult. Anyway, so cool, we got some kind of upstairs level. But I've now decided I want a block here. So I'm going to make a block that goes out. Oh, let's draw another guideline in here. There we go. I kind of want these encased in a block. So what I'm going to do is drag that on up. You notice that we get the offset limited because it's hit the bottom of that. Don't worry about that. Just let go of it, select it, and hopefully we can't drag it. Okay. If I can't drag it, I'll build around it then. I will build around it. So I'm going to head on up on the blue axis here, hold shift, draw it in line with the top there. Move on over and down. Move on out across the green axis in line with this and down, and out here. Can remove this top piece and then hook up this last bit here. So that's now encased in its own kind of pillar. I suppose I can go ahead and remove those lines now. So that looks a bit better. It's not just going into the wall anymore. We've got some pipes going upstairs, we've got a railing, we've got a quick ramp there. Let's cut a hole in the floor that you can jump through. That sounds interesting. Let's just go ahead and draw a hole. And what you want to do is drag it down to this point here. You'll notice it kind of, you see how it's white and pink, it's faded. It's something called texture overlapping. When you're playing a game, you might notice that some textures kind of flash. It's because there's two textures at the exact same level, and they're both fighting for dominance of who's on top. And you want to see that when you're dragging a hole through something, you want to see those textures overlap. If you go down here, I've gone too far. If I let go there, I mean, it's just weird, you know, that's not what we want. But if I drag it down to where they overlap, let go, you'll notice there that we now have a little hole in the floor. can be quite hard to see things without textures. So I'm just going to really quickly grab the texture tool. I'm not going to set these up properly. This is not how you would properly texture. But let's go ahead and put some carpet in. Hell, let's put some, I don't know, let's have roofs for walls. And some kind of tile system. So what you can see now that that hole is actually legit instead of everything just being white. You may want to texture some things when you're creating just as a temporary texture, just so that you can make sure that your holes in the floor and whatever have gone through properly. But we can see there that that hole does actually function as a hole. Last thing I'm going to make is an archway, I suppose. Let's just really roughly draw an archway up on the blue axis there. Again, very rough. I'm really throwing this together. I'm not measuring anything out. And let's extend this to here. Now you'll notice that we've got these faces that are pink. Now these actually have messed up. I messed up there. Best way I can drag that out without doing that would have been to draw it on the back bit. That's right. Let's drag you up here. Again up the blue axis. And again on the blue. We can delete this face, and I'm only interested in this one. I can reverse it, and now I can drag it on out to be in line with that. Draw some lines down here along the blue axis, and now I should be able to push that right the way out. And this is a bit messed up. So you notice here that we've got the actual outside of it. You see how it's not all connected up. It's basically broken. Now one way of doing that is, there you go, just drawing a line across it, erasing your newly drawn line, and then you know, it kind of snaps the face up, realizes. Imagine you've got a the letter U. Imagine the letter U. Now in a 3D modeling software, you've got the letter U, but it thinks, wait a minute, there's nothing across the top of that letter U, so this is just 3 lines. As soon as you add that 4th line that turns the U into an O, it thinks, okay, I've got 4 things touching each other, I'm going to put a face in between all of them. And that's essentially what happened there. It's got these lines around the outside. It does have this line, but because that was already kind of a pre-built line, it's not detecting it. So one thing you can just do is just go ahead, put a line in there, then remove that, and it thinks, oh look, all my faces are here, I'm gonna make all my lines are here, I'm gonna make a face. So there you go. Okay, now I want to cover one more thing in this video, and I want to cover how we get this model from SketchUp into Unreal Engine 4. Obviously it's a very, very simple process, but there is one step that may not be so obvious. I am using SketchUp Make Pro here. Now the Pro version you have to pay for, but I'm going to show you how to do this in the free version. In the Pro version, if you want to go ahead and pay for SketchUp, you can go ahead and hit File, Export, 3D Model, and you simply just select the .fbx file. That would work. You could put that straight into Unreal Engine 4, and there's your FBX. Jobs are good, and go ahead and do whatever you need to do. There's one more step for us free users. Free users don't have the option to export as a .fbx, so what we're going to do is export as a collada file, or a .dae. I'm going to go ahead and export that, and we'll just set the name of this to something like a really random name, ASD. I'm going to send that to my documents. I'm going to hit export. And Google's really clever actually with this. It says something's messed up in my model, and I don't actually know where that is. I don't remember messing up, but just hit fix now. It'll fix it. It says you won't notice it, and honestly, every time I've fixed it, I haven't noticed what it's done. My model's been the exact same. So maybe, you know, I've got one line or something that's not quite hooked up somewhere, or you know, maybe I've not erased one of my guidelines or something, and it thinks, hey, that's a bit wrong. I'm going to go ahead and fix that for you. So just let it fix it if it finds something wrong. Sorry, back to getting into Unreal Engine 4. There is that one step for us free users that have exported using the .dae extension. We need to go ahead and use the Autodesk FBX Converter 2013. I'll leave a link to the download of this in the description. You just want to open this up, move this onto the main screen over here, and it's really, really simple process. On the left side, just hit Add, find the .dae. These were some previous things. We can delete this. So find the asd.dae, open it up, hit convert, and if we go and find my documents now, we'll notice that we have the original DAE file and the newly created FBX file. So let's go ahead and open Unreal Engine 4, not Photoshop. My bad. Let's we can close out of that. Go ahead and open Unreal Engine 4 there. Hit library, and I'm gonna open up my. Oh dear, that was a bit strange. I've never seen it crash on the launcher before, but there you go. Unreal Engine 4's launcher can crash. Just open this up, hit library. I'm gonna boot into my hospital project, and I'll tell you what, I'll quickly show you around the hospital actually. Just because that's something that's been created in Google Sketchup, and we're talking about Google Sketchup, so I may as well show you it. Okay, just give this a moment to load in. Awkward silence. Anyway, okay. So this is something that I've been creating in Google Sketchup. The lighting is so messed up. Just ignore the lighting. But yeah, so you can see you kind of got your alleyways, some rooms, and this was all made in Google Sketchup. So all these kind of little notches there on the end of the tables, all of this was put together in SketchUp. All the kind of rooms, the railings, this bedroom kind of thing. I'd show you it better, but you know, lighting is kind of screwed up here. So let's go ahead and import the model we've just made. So we're gonna delete this. This was a previous video gone wrong. I'm gonna hit import, and we have our asd.fbx file there in my documents where we left it. So we're gonna go ahead and open. Now you want it auto-generate collision. This isn't a skeletal mesh, so we're gonna leave this unticked. We want to import materials and textures. Just go ahead, hit import. Can ignore that, and there's our model. Now if I were to play, I'm going to tell you right now that it's too small for me, so I can't run around my level. So what I'm going to do is scale it up in engine. So I'm going to lock this actually, and let's just set it to 3 times what it is. Actually, you know what? Let's go 7. 7 may be a bit big, but whatever. Let's just drag some lights out so we can actually see what's in this level, in this room here. And hit play. And we're going to land on top of it. We can't actually go into it. So one real quick thing that we need to do is head into the model, apply a physical material. If you don't have one, just create a new one. Set the complex collision as simple. Save that. Hit play. And huzzah, we can run around this very, very glossy looking level. I mean, the materials look awful, but they're set up right for scaling. So you can see that we got the lighting's bad, but you can see that we got lights there. I just wonder if I can't play it in unlit mode. Yeah, so we got the hole in the ground there that we can jump through like that. If I could land my jumps right. If I head upstairs, we've got the archway that we can walk through. Yeah, so it all works perfectly. My character walking around basically works totally fine with this model. You know, I'm colliding with things correctly. If it was high enough, I could jump on those poles. The ramp works fine. It's a walkable axis. So that's, I'm going to really quickly, I'll just mop that up there and leave it there. Basically, that's how you throw together a kind of level. You're going to want to spend a lot of time in Unreal Engine, in Google Sketchup actually, just making your level, getting things set out. And every so often, just export it as that .da, convert it to an FBX, put it in Engine, and just have a play around with it, have a feel of it. You know, it's cool, it looks great in SketchUp, but you want to get a feel of how a level plays. So put it into Unreal Engine 4, run around it, add some lights so you can see what you're doing, and how does it feel? Do things feel right? Does this corridor feel too small? Does that hole feel too big? Are these pipes too intrusive? And then go back to SketchUp, make adjustments, and carry on from there. So I'll wrap this video up here. That's how you would make a very... I'm not even going to call it a level. That's how you make a room in Google SketchUp, and how you import it using the Pro version or the free version. Pro, if I'd have exported that as the Pro, I would just have skipped the conversion step, come to Unreal Engine 4, imported it as the exported FBX there. But if I want to use the free version, go ahead, convert that .da into an FBX, import it into your engine, Materials and textures, I'm not going to cover that here, but basically, you know, you can texture those things up with other stuff. So yeah, you know, that's one way of going about it. That's one way of making models for Unreal Engine 4 and then playing with them. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's been helpful. That's the main thing. I hope it showed you a piece of software that perhaps you didn't know about. Perhaps you didn't know that Google Sketchup could be used to make levels for Unreal Engine 4. Google SketchUp's wow, okay, let me start that again. Google SketchUp is fantastic for architecture. If you're making things like swords and shield, yeah, it'll do you. You can do it. But it's really meant for large things. It's really meant for architecture, building levels, building rooms, building large props. If you want to do detailed things, I would recommend Blender, but that's not to say that this software can't handle it. This software absolutely can handle it. You can make some very detailed, very intricate, small props and things. But anyway, mumbling on, going to wrap that up here at 20 minutes or so. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I hope it's been helpful. If it has, give it a thumbs up. If it hasn't, preferably don't give it a thumbs down. Just leave me a comment. If you think it's been, if it hasn't been as helpful as it could have been, leave me a comment. Tell me why. I'm always looking to improve these videos. Tell me what I can improve on. You know, I'll leave that there. Thanks very much, guys. Don't forget to subscribe for more SketchUp videos, more Unreal Engine 4 content coming soon. I'm looking at making an inventory system, but it's not as simple as some of the tutorials I've done. It's a project in its own right, to be fair. So stay tuned for when I can break that down into multiple little videos there. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, I will see you on the next